both very, very equal because the system breaks down. So what a typical high day would look like, full body. This is a competent athlete, training for strength, 5-4-3, repping out, jumps, so plyometric, depth jumps, so he's jumping down, high-speed eccentric load, developing our compliance, eccentric bench press, developing control and compliance, barbell step-ups, concentric really only, so stepping up, reducing force, because we've hit all the markers that we need to there. Bench pull, for those who don't know, it's a chest row, so it's a supported chest row. Upper back, okay, very, very important for holding our shoulders in one piece. Hip thrusts, glutes, hamstrings, explosive med-ball rotations, so looking at our plyometric stuff, looking at our concentric, and overhead med-ball tossing. So real simple. That'll take about an hour and 10 minutes to get through appropriately. That's kind of what that organisation of training would look like in a professional environment. And then a typical low day, notice straight away the reps. Lots of reps, lots of reps. So, overhead barbell lunge. So we're here, nice and tall, down, all stability, motor learning. That's why I asked you to do the overhead squat, is because it's an exercise that promotes extension and promotes optimal position, which I'll show you in a minute. Motor learning, work capacity, bit of hypertrophy, again, more barbell overhead walking, making sure we can make sense of the long just as good as we can make sense of the short is really, really important. Speed, it's one slide, because what you should know by now is that it sits at the top. It is the most wanted trained ability. Who's quickest in the team? Who's the most powerful? But it's the last thing that we need to train directly. Because if the last hour and 50 minutes have told you anything, that this is the only thing that you use to put the icing on the cake. So if you look and just watch him, as Usain Bolt, motor control. Look at the sequencing of that shin angle, thigh angle, sorry. Look at the relationship between his heel and his hip when he hits the floor. This is high performing motor learning tasks. It's the fastest man that's ever lived, albeit it's underpinned by some genetic qualities, but it's a trained ability as well. But you need to have everything in place and everything ticked off in our pyramid. So, just a little thing about Usain Bolt. The reason why he is as fast as he is. If you look at his splits, reaction time, not the fastest, that's Ben Johnson. First 10, there's a similar pattern all coming through. But this is where it changes. So Usain Bolt's ability to win races is not by how fast he can run, it's by how slow he decelerates. So everyone else gets slower quicker. Maximal strength can be a gift and a curse. Dwayne Chambers, who remembers 2012 final, 60 metres with Bolt, all the way through. But his ability to produce force trained him so well for a 60 metre sprinter. Didn't have enough speed strength, elastic component, which what Usain Bolt has. Usain Bolt just continue to reach his max speed. They're all accelerating, it's just when they stop accelerating, they have to hold it for dear life. And I think he came sixth, I think, at the end of that race. Someone that was neck and neck with him didn't have the ability to control, absorb, and utilise his force that he had been taught. I think he's very happy just cleaning up in the 60 metres, winning all the time. So, optimal positioning, piece of cake. I love this picture. Again, it reinforces motor learning and all the qualities that we detrain through modern society. But in some places, it's still practiced. Okay? Optimal form. Okay? Optimal form. And this is someone who, in Olympic weightlifting in Russia, they get them when they're young and they train them. They reinforce the habits. It's early specialization sports. And they produce really good athletes, really good movers as well. So we're going to go on to look at some youth considerations. This is a training cycle. So at the top, you've got one big macro cycle. 21 years it finishes. All your little mesos, types of growth as we come through. And then this one, peak height velocity. Does anyone know what that is? No? So what happens? Everyone goes through a growth spurt. Okay? When we go through a growth spurt, do you think it alters our motor learning? Yeah? Your line-out jumper has just realised that he's got an extra 6 inches of arm and he can't take his catch. Okay? Because his peak height velocity. So, note, this is a female, but note the years that our peak height velocity is at its peak. 12, 13, 14, 15, so take 10 to 17. Okay? This is where education is really, really important, and how you train your youth and how you look after our youth. Early childhood. If you look at the training structure, unrestricted, low structure, it's just growth, discovery, playing any sport in every sport. As a child growing up, you should be playing individual sport, should be taking part in team sport, different types of team sports, intergender sport as well. It's really important, okay? Because female peak height velocity changes start earlier than men. So if you take our growth and development from an intergender sport, it keeps the young lads in their place because most of the time they want to do everything. Unfortunately, women are better. So FMS, we need to is functional movement. Need to be reinforcing motor learning, mobility. See, mobility is all the way through because as a child learns to stand, they learn what it's like to be tired. When you become tired, you want to sit down. So they fall into that process. So we need to be working on that mobility. Agility encompasses motor learning, coordination, speed, just running around. You'll get your speed dose. Sooner or later you'll become quick. You're going to be quick. And then you can top up later on. Working on power, hypertrophy, muscle growth. Endurance. This is an interesting one for me because one of the players at Wasps had 3 kids and he said to me that can't get them to go to sleep. Play for hours, can't get them to go to sleep. One of the other lads chimed in and goes, I just bought one of those big trampolines. Bought it straight away, chucked them on, they were asleep before we knew it. They jumped all afternoon and just just got such a high work capacity, a high endurance. So do we really need to be, if we think about children growing up, do we need to be running around all the time? Do we need to be chasing fitness with youth? I don't think so. We need to be looking at these aspects, making sure they're structurally aware. You see kids, oh, he was a promising talent, but just got injured. It's because the dumb coach trained him too hard, exhausted him. Which is a big thing, and you see it a lot. I was lucky to spend a couple of years in the academy at Wasp and talk to parents all the time. Does he need to be going extra runs? Does he need to be doing this? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He needs to be learning to put one foot in front of the other effectively. Learning to walk backwards. The amount of people who can't walk backwards is incredible. Effectively, creating extension, stepping, creating extension, walk backwards. But yet, we're expected to do it in defence. For every player, we're expected to move backwards and jockey out in their drift defence. We're expected to work and change direction. People don't know how to walk backwards. There's obviously underpinning the whole time of what we do. Children need control. Children need, and youth need restraints, and they need to be nurtured heavily. I think it's important. There's not enough of it in clubs. There's not enough of it throughout. I think PE in schools is a joke. I think it needs to change massively. And studies like this are going to start proving that and pushing that more and more forward. Just hope, if I'm lucky enough to have kids one day, I'll stick that on the fridge. So, how can I help you? Like, there is some sort of a ploy here to provoke myself, but also it is information. I do have a private company. I provide training means for all facets of sports related. It's performance orientated in what I do. It's my passion, but that can be from performing simple basic movements to producing one rep max strength and all sorts of those things. That's my email if you wanted to take it around. And the reason why I am here is that my circle is not complete. I work in a professional environment for the most part. But like I said at the beginning, I have a massive passion for what's missing and trying with, hopefully, my ever-growing company, philosophies and ideas, that I can complete that by giving back, basically. So, thank you very much for your time, attention and focus, and I'd like to ask any questions. If you have questions, they can be on anything, not just what we covered here. Is everyone too tired?
So, Sam, you said about the alternating intensities. So, I think that was the training, what you're saying.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah, with the say men's boxing now.
Yeah.
If you had a heavy bag every day, is that what you classify as a high?
Depends on your level of skill.
Yeah.
So the first time you pass a rugby ball, it's going to be difficult. So again, you qualify yourself. Whether you could do heavy bag every day, but what you would need to do is regulate your force production.